Well, hello everyone. We're going live at the moment in the first of our Hangouts, and this is linking us up here in Leiden with Geneva, and it's the first time this has happened. So if you see any jokes or anything going very strangely, it wasn't planned. We really have messed it up. Just to introduce myself again, I'm Richard Griffiths, Professor of International Studies at Leiden University, and I ran the Configuring the World course that, of course, all of you have done. And now I'm going to hand over to Leah to say hello.
Yeah, so warm welcome also from my side. So I'm Leah Stadler from University of Geneva, and here I'm representing the course International Organization Management, and you probably know me from the video lectures on public-private partnerships. And now I hand over to Madeleine.
Thank you very much. I'm Madeleine Hossley. I'm a professor of international relations also here at Leiden University, like Professor Griffith. And I have been running the course, The Changing Global Order, where we also had several other lecturers, mainly from Leiden University, involved. I hand back to Professor Griffith.
Okay, well, what we thought we'd do in the first round was to just bring you back up to speed on what we've done in the individual courses that you've been following. If you remember, in Configuring the World, we tried to take the world apart and to look specifically at the data that was used to try to express what was happening. So we looked at areas of the size of countries, how rich they were, how poor, how you compared these. We looked at whether countries or people in countries trusted each other, and to what extent this was caused by fragmentation, by religious or linguistic challenges, and how well they were actually governed. And we tied all of these elements together with the idea of poverty. And of course, the idea of wealth and poverty, inequality and equality underlie a lot of the world's problems today. And then we looked at the more global dimension and saw whether, in fact, international organizations could control the world economy, and if they weren't doing it, who were actually doing it. Now, from these, there's a wide range of topics and themes you could choose to study further. At the moment, the World Summit is taking place in Davos, and they're discussing issues of poverty and violence and terrorism, and all of those are linked back to the data and information that you will have got from the course. Even if you don't do anything specific from the course, remember, whenever you look at numbers, whenever you look at what people tell you about numbers and gradients, always stay critical. As long as you do that, I'll be purring away like a big contented pussycat. So I'm going to hand you over now to Madeleine.
Sorry, thank you. Yep, you got back here. Thank you very much. I think that gave a very nice overview of the Configuring the World course and some of the items. Now, in the Changing Global Order, we took a slightly different track. What we did is we started out first with theoretical notions, many of you may remember, of international relations. And then we started looking into specific cases. What we did is we kind of looked at organizations, including actually NATO, and at a later stage in the course at the United Nations Security Council. And what we also did is we looked at some of the regional organizations and their role, for example, in terms of maintenance of peace and security. European Union was one of those institutions, actually regional organizations. And another one was, for example, the African Union, where we had an interview specifically geared towards that organization. So we have been focusing on those issues. We've also looked at mediation, conflict resolution, very important topics. And some of you actually did a small essay on how to solve a violent or potentially violent conflict. Now, there we have many cases, unfortunately, I should say, of true tension and potentially violent conflict. Many topics, too many, I should say, to address. So I'm sure when we think about the final project, from that experience, we would also have a lot of examples. I hand back to Leah in Geneva.
Okay, so here is a short summary of the course International Organization Management, where we took really the organizational perspective and looked at the different challenges that these organizations face today. So these challenges relate to defining the strategies of international organizations, but also questions related to finding the right governance forum in terms of being able to make decisions and also to balance the components in terms of hierarchy and networks. But we also looked at shifting context in which these international organizations operate. So in terms of international trade, climate change, but also digital revolution, and what the impact is for international organizations. And then another topic that we addressed related to finding the right partnership strategy when international organizations want to collaborate with the private sector. And another important issue is also how to develop the right leadership in the UN system and make sure that the leaders can really embrace the current challenges that they are facing. And finally, we also addressed challenges related to defining the right marketing strategy and getting the fundraising right in order to ensure the sustainability of international organizations. So here again, we have a lot of questions that can be addressed in further depth, and really we invite you to also do the Finder project with a perspective of an international organization. So if you do that, please be a bit more precise and pick one specific international organization, and then analyze the specific challenge in terms of why is it the challenge, and then what are the reasons for this challenge and possible solutions, by also addressing the pros and cons, the opportunities and risks, so really engaging in a deep analysis and coming to a conclusion. So we will look very much forward to projects also in this area. Okay, and I hand back to Richard.
Okay, well, I think that's given us a good overview of what we've done in the past. So let's discuss what we're going to do in the future. Now, one thing I think has been very encouraging have been the forums. I mean, over half of the people subscribed in the course have already looked at the forums, and that's a very high take-up rate, certainly compared with our individual courses. And of course, you've all got the experience of having done 3 of the courses, and so I expect a high level of discussion and cooperation that it's been shown before. I'm not worried about the forums. I'm just pleased they go well, and I want to encourage you to actually use them. Now, one of the little things that did come up in the forum is, does my question actually fit one of our themes? I thought curious. I wasn't sure we'd given precise themes, but somewhere along the line we've each given a sentence saying this is what you could do, but they're not written in stone. We just tried to summarize everything up in one quick sentence. So as long as your work fits into generally the spirit of our courses and combines them, basically anything's all right, as long as it is doable. And I think one of the big problems you're going to face is trying to restrict the area of what you're going to write about rather than expand it. So take a little care about that. Now, one option you have, and you have to have submitted it by Monday, is to submit your research question. And here we've got a bit of a dilemma for you, because if you leave it vague, you're obviously not going to get much feedback. But if you read the instructional podcasts, we actually want you to do a little bit of literature searching before you refine your research question. The more specific you can get, the better feedback you can get. But don't forget, again, it's not written in stone yet. So we do urge you very much to take this opportunity. So, Madeline, what do you think? Madeline, you're muted.
Sorry, yes, just struggling for a moment here with the screen. Yes, no, I think this is exactly the relevant thing that you mentioned. I actually felt that just looking at first ideas on the discussion forum, like the threads that mentions the shared ideas, and there are so many topics already kind of popping up. And that's exactly what you also just mentioned. There's a wealth of things you could look at. Also, if you look at Leah's examples, well, it's actually terrific and very fascinating to look at these organizations and the challenges they're facing. So there's a wealth, but I also agree it will be a little bit difficult to narrow down the scope of potential research and to get a good research question. And if I may advertise this a little bit, Richard, so Professor Griffiths, has actually also prepared some material for you that help you getting to that stage. And I can highly recommend that, because then it helps you on this very difficult path, the avenue to get to a good research question. And yes, use the discussion possibilities, the feedback possibilities to derive at a good topic. There's no problem in terms of the wealth of topics. That's international affairs. There's so much going on. I hand back, maybe to Leah.
Yeah, so I can only support this advice to look at the additional tools that we provided in terms of the short video clips on how to get to the research question and how to write. This is very helpful. And personally, I find it sometimes helpful to get to my research question when I have a list first with like a theme and then 3 optional research questions. And in my mind, I think about how to move on with each question, and then I narrow down to 2, and then I come to the final research question that I want to pursue. So narrowing also my thought in the process. So you don't have to pick just one and then from now to the end stick to that. So now is the time to think about several research questions, and then in 1 week to say, okay, I will go with this because here's it is the most precise and there's the most room in order to go into depth and analyze it. Yeah, and maybe then another comment also, if you participate in the peer assessment on the research questions, so which is due on Monday, then please also participate in giving feedback to other suggestions. So this is also part of the play. So you submit your research question and give feedback for other research questions. So we already thank you for that.
Okay, well, I think I've tuned in. Yeah. Now, one of the things we're going to be doing in support of you is to come back into these discussions every week. And we'll try and pick up on the threads in the forums, any specific concerns you have, and we'll try and give some reflections from our own side. So we hope you'll be able to follow those just as you follow this one and find them useful. And if you have any ideas of what you think we should be discussing, put them in the forums and we'll try and pick them up, because next week it'll be Madeline and myself acting as some sort of duo. We haven't practiced this yet either, to see if we can actually get this running and doing it well. One of the great benefits we have is the wide diversity of experience that you've all got. And I think by reviewing each other's work, you'll actually not just learn by producing your own project, but you'll have the fun of reading and commenting on other people's. And who knows, perhaps making longer-term contact with people that or share similar interests to you, because this, again, is one of the worthwhile things, is knowing that there's somebody else out there in this whole world, possibly somewhere a long way away, warm and interesting from this Leiden perspective, who is also interested in exactly what you are doing. So try and follow up those things as well. Madeline, over to you.
Thanks very much. Yes, I actually think it is true that all of you who are in this course, in this specialization, have really put a lot of energy and work into your area of interest. I mean, you have completed 3 courses, and that was a bit challenging. Maybe some of you are working alongside this, or you're studying, and so this is an effort. You've really demonstrated that you're highly interested in these topics. So I think with this background, and knowing, of course, as Richard said, it's a diverse, rich background maybe that we have actually in this specialization, in terms of the number of countries, in terms of the age distribution, in terms of the cultural experiences that all of us come from. So there is a lot of variety, and I think that makes these courses so fascinating, and also this specialization that really focuses on global affairs. We need you all. You're so much devoted and interested, and we are trying to help you kind of get to a topic and work on this in a way that it's rewarding for you. But obviously, when you also do the peer review, as Leah mentions, it's a very important element that you also gain from this. So it's kind of this mutual exchange that really, I think, works, and we are all going to contribute to this. Maybe back to Leah?
Yeah, I have one final comment. So given that now we're at the very beginning and everything is open, and to get started, on the one hand, it's okay, jumping into research and getting your research question. But on the other hand, you can, now it's also the time to consider it from a project management perspective, so that you first get to know all the different deadlines and also do your own planning. What do you want to deliver at what date? So that you don't wake up at the very short time before the deadline, but really that now you do your planning. What do you want to do, and how do you want to prepare for these different deadlines? What we are going to offer, as we have already mentioned, in terms of support, that we have weekly Google Hangouts where we kind of do a recap on where should you be now, what are the next steps. So to help you with your planning and delivering the right things at the right moment. But here again, so an encouragement to your side to also do your own planning with deadlines and what to do until when. But I think then it's going to be great work. Okay, thank you. Back to Richard.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. Planning, God, it's one of the things I almost never do. But given the short deadlines and everything else, of course, you'll benefit very much from doing it. I also think it's worth sharing with other people. One of the things that happens in the forums is the formulation of sort of regional groups or thematic groups where you can meet and discuss with each other. But remember, when you're in the forums, this is probably unnecessary. Temper your language. Be generous to the opinions of others, even if you don't understand them immediately or why they should hold them. People hold convictions that you might not necessarily share. And I know this is probably completely superfluous, but bear that in mind in the forums. And one other very small thing, don't paste, copy and paste messages right across a whole range of forums, because this acts like a sort of concrete over of discussion group, and eventually people stop discussing because they know that they're still getting the same message over and over again. And I think if we avoid those couple of things from the beginning, then those will be very pleasurable experiences and also part of the learning. And we, or at least I, will try to come in and certainly read them and to some extent join in those discussions with you. So I have to say this is, I think for all of us, the first time we've done anything like this. It's the first time we've worked together. It's the first capstone or final project that involves 2 universities in different countries. And so for all of us here, this is a tremendously exciting experience. We contact each other via this, for me, totally unknown medium of Skyping quite regularly, and we're all very excited by this. I hope you realize that this is not just us sitting back. This is for us really moving into a new way of cooperation, a new way of learning, and we're intrigued that you, or hope that you enjoy it as much as we do. And I think these are going to be my last words before somebody says, let's get back to Richard. So whoever's last in this round, you round off. So, Madeleine.
Well, I definitely have one piece that fits very, very nicely, I think, with what was just said. It is a special project, and indeed it is very nice for us. In terms of topics, it is a natural thing. Geneva and The Hague, Leiden, that's exactly what fits very, very well when we look at how to handle some of the international challenges, since Leiden University is also in The Hague, even though obviously Leiden is really where it was founded. But that actually means that it is a new combination which works out really well for us in terms of working on new avenues. Now, I should say, since we've all been so enthusiastic getting into this final project, and all of us have had a very nice experience with our own courses, online courses, what we did is we have been together with many around us actually at our universities. We've been lobbying a bit to try to see that some of you can get a special prize if you wish. It is not all that easy to do this. On the one hand, yes, a grade and maybe a certificate. Those are already quite nice things to get, but we have a special thing in this capstone project, in this final project of the 3 courses. Again, with the help of others at our universities, we have managed to get a bit of access to one of the organizations that we thought could be very interesting for you. Now, there is a lot in terms of organizations that could be interesting. We are very happy to say that we have been able to help you get into a process. Those of you, we call it the best performers, and the criteria will actually be announced, to give you the possibility to apply for an internship at the headquarters of NATO in Brussels. I should say it's like a little clause we cannot guarantee, but what we can say is that your applications will be very strongly and seriously considered, because you are part indeed of this project and we support you. So this probably kind of gives the essence of what this is. We feel very happy with this. Maybe in the future we'll see what else opens up, but for now maybe this is a nice thing for you to know, and I think some of you really deserve a prize. Back to Leah.
So here I will probably add my final words in order to say that I wish you a great learning journey over this final project, and get started soon. So as I said, we will see each other at least every second week during a Google Hangout, and don't hesitate to put your questions on the forum. So to know that you're not alone on this journey, we really try to help you as best as possible. So yeah, good luck for getting started.
Usually we pass back to Richard at this point, but I think since he opened, I'll actually now just start saying also goodbye for the moment. Indeed, as Leah just has mentioned, we are looking at the forum. We are very much involved in the course. We are interested to see what you are doing and to watch your mutual growing and learning in our specialization. So thank you very much, and indeed, I'll also kind of see you next week. And I pass back to Richard.
Okay, and for me too, this has been a nice meeting. I hope that we carry on, that this is really going to develop into something really very, very special. And Madeline and I will both be seeing you next week. So until then, it's also goodbye from me. Goodbye.